Hey there, good morning. Oh, my mic is not at the right level. Oh no. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. That's better. Good morning. Welcome back to my live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz. Today is August 9th, 2018, and I'm wearing my Villanova National Champions hat. I saw this hat sitting on the shelf and thought, you know what? This is a good hat to wear today. Always good to wear a championship hat. Villanova men's basketball won the national championship here in the States. Very good team this year. Very good. 2 draft picks into the NBA. Thrilled to see how well they did. And today we're going to write a little bit of code. Thanks so much for the host there, Dev Chatter. And gosh, looks like we've got a couple new follows there. John Gwynn, and is that Fakurod6? Thanks so much. What do you mean? Not all American sports winners are world champions? What a blasphemy! No. This is men's college basketball, national collegiate men's basketball. But some American sports winners, yeah, they are world champions. There aren't too many other American football leagues. So there's that. Hockey, they call them Stanley Cup champions. They don't call them world champions. Baseball, they do call them world champions, and I've always felt kind of weird about that one. So, good morning. Let's see. We have Andre, Worldwake, Welsh Ronaldo, Ashley Broughton is here, Ace Flameseer, Eckhard, and C#.net. Love the neck. Let's see. And there's John Dre Loon. Good to see you. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Let's get some music playing here in the background. I'm gonna play. I think this is called Chartreuse. There we go. This is, of course, more music from our friend Carl Franklin, called "Music to Code By," and it's engineered, it's designed to get to with a certain number of beats per minute to get you hyper focused, to get you in the mood, so that you can kind of get into that flow, that state of flow where everything kind of fades away and you're able to just get stuff done. I'm a big fan of this music. I really enjoy what Carl's put together here. I encourage you to check it out. mtcb.pwop.com. You can purchase the music, or you can download the app, musictoflowby.com, and you can get great songs each month on your iPhone or your Android device. Thanks so much, Carl. I appreciate you letting us play some of your great music here in the background. Hey, Org Brat and Joker, good to see you. And I have another logo that's going to pop up here in the corner for an event I'm speaking at in Las Vegas in November called No-Op Conference. If you use, or No-Op Commerce Developer Days. If you use the No-Op Commerce tool, that's built on top of ASP.NET and ASP.NET Core. They've asked me to come out and give a talk at their event in Las Vegas, so you'll see that event pop up there in the events window. Hey, Ward, good morning in Texas. And Brazil is where S4P0 is. Yep, Brendan starts right after lunch. And we've got a couple friends that all start here on Thursdays right after lunch. Mark Miller on Code Rushed is there as well. Why isn't that? Whatever. All right. I'm going to wander over here. I want to make sure I highlight the Rainbow Beard Challenge is still going on. 3140 of 5,000. If we get to 5,000 followers before October 20th, we'll dye this beard. We'll make it into a fine-looking rainbow. I gave it the final trim. I'm not going to cut it in September. I'm going to let it grow so it's nice and full for a wonderful-sized rainbow there if we hit our goal. If not, end of October, it's getting cut. So, let's see, what do we have there? Very interesting talk from a couple of days ago at NDC. Well, NDC wasn't a few days ago. Adapting ASP.NET Core MVC to your needs. Oh, yeah. That sounds That sounds pretty good, actually. All right. So, the state to the west. Yes, Ohio. Just one over. So, we're going to be doing our work today in the CoreWiki project. So this is an ASP.NET Core application that was designed from the get-go to be pretty simple for anybody to pick up and learn how to build an ASP.NET Core application with some simple CRUD, some create, read, update, and delete functionality. And it's slowly grown here on stream, and we've been adding new features, and we've been seeing places where, you know what, we need to refactor and make this a little bit more robust so that we can grow and we can add some more, dare I say, enterprise-grade features like workflow and extensibility. So we've been doing this refactoring, and today we're going to continue that refactoring to introduce and make some domain models that will allow us to update and build our pages independently of Entity Framework. And in the future, we'll make those domain models a little bit more robust so that they can receive various events, and we can do interactions that have the various elements of business logic that we want to introduce. Things like content reviews, or when we may need to censor something. These types of things we want to be able to enable optionally in the future, but in order to do that, we want to introduce a little bit more surface area to our domain objects and put them someplace where they're isolated from our database, our data storage interactions, so that data storage can focus on just data storage. And enforcing business logic is in one place, and it's not repeated all over the place as well. Ancient Coder, good day. Great to see you. All right, so looks like Ashley opened an issue here about file nesting preferences. I want to take a look at this real quick. We talked about the default nesting a little bit on stream and how HTML file is the default to be displayed in the Solution Explorer, with the CS code behind page being nested beneath it. They call it actually a page model, but it's from older versions of ASP.NET. We called these code behinds. In ASP.NET Core, for Razor pages, they call these page models. The point is, the concept is very similar. Continuing, do we enforce a particular style of nesting, or should we add .fileNesting JSON to git ignore and let each developer set their own preference? I personally prefer to have the C# file front and center and the HTML file nested below it, like this. I'm not looking at this one way or the other as something that we need to enforce, that we need to say everybody must look at Solution Explorer and Visual Studio this way. Because the fact of the matter is, when you open this in Visual Studio Code, there is no nesting at all. So, is that Xander8? Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. And good morning, Steve. You're over there. Good morning, Steve. And it's great to see you. Don't work too hard here today. All right. So I'm not opposed to adding this to git ignore so that you can customize the way that you want your Solution Explorer to appear. However, here on stream, I want to show as much of the default experience of Visual Studio as possible, so that new developers, folks that are new to projects or want to learn how to use these tools, see the same thing when they first open Visual Studio. But for you out there, if you're contributing, if you want to download and work with the code, sure. If you want to use your own formatting, your own approach for how you work in the editor, that sounds perfectly acceptable to me. Smab replies, does not affect the contents or placement of the files. It's just a preference. So I saw Ashley in the excuse me. I saw Ashley in the chat room, and I'm going to agree here and just document it. I think this is a fine idea for an addition to the project, to allow contributors to work in a manner that they're most comfortable with. All right. And it was just adding, what was the name of the file we're adding? .filenesting.json. That's fine with me. I'll leave that go. Somebody else can jump in on that. Adam Schneider, good afternoon from Germany. Guten Nachmittag. And Mr. Magoo at Brave Cobra is here. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody. So these types of things where it's a preference for how you're working with the editor, that's fine with me if you want to be able to change how that behaves. However, some things that changed the format and storage and how the application behaves, that I think we want to make sure we agree on, and we have a common editor config that we're referencing and working with. Chris Jones is still working on the dark theme. This one, add mediator to CoreWiki. The compile failed. We've got a failure here. Added CoreWiki application, which holds the commands queries. It should build and run, works on my machine, and we're running into an issue here, and there's some conflicts. I'm going to come back to this because there's 20 files that changed, and this is a pretty significant change. I want to give this appropriate its appropriate due to be reviewed. So I will come back to that. Ashley created some tests for the create page, and all tests passed. I looked at the files that changed. We introduced the MOQ, the mock testing, how do I explain this? The mocking framework for testing into the test project, and changing up the test project. I'm pretty confident. I'm okay with those types of changes. Yes, I am still in the starting scene, only because I'm reviewing things here and I'm not getting down into code where we really need to see it big. What was introduced here was just a couple of tests to make sure that it properly returns an object, depending on whether or not there's an existing page or not. So this is a pretty good introduction of a unit test, and this is going into the dev branch. That's fine. We'll take this for adding these tests. It will make it easier for us to verify we haven't broken things as we introduce our domain models. Cool. Thanks so much, Ashley. Really appreciate that. All right, let's go over to our code. There we are. I think that's what you were looking for. All right, so I'm going to open up. I'm going to open up PowerShell here. I've actually got caps lock on my keyboard. I can reprogram the keys on my keyboard. I have caps lock because I never hit caps lock wired up to just open PowerShell automatically. So I can just tap caps lock and it shows window X. That's what I've got it rerouted to, and I can open PowerShells till I go blue in the face here. And who doesn't like being blue in the face from opening PowerShell? Anyways, let me go over to the CoreWiki folder. Is there a way to view the complete chat after joining late? You could rewind the video. You could go back in the video and because all the chat is over there on the side. Rewatch at double speed. There you go, Ashley. That's a thing. All right. So I'm working in this new data folder branch. I don't want to be in new data for. I want to get Ashley's changes in, so I'm going to check out my dev branch. pull in those changes, and then go back over and merge. So now I've got those changes merged in over here. I'm not going to push up just yet. So now, as I'm working in the project here, I've now got that unit test on the create page, those unit tests. So as I go and introduce the domain model on the create page, we should see whether or not I broke those tests. Okay. Nozoke, is that Nozoke or is that Nozoki? Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Join us in the chat room. We're talking about some of the cool features we're going to work on today. All right. So let's open. Do I have Visual Studio open? I do. There we go. So I'm going to go over to CoreWiki. And I'm going to turn on, because I can, I'm going to turn on live unit testing. So our Test Explorer, and Test Explorer is open in all versions of Visual Studio, whether it's community, professional, or enterprise, you will have a Test Explorer that shows your tests running here. So it's going to build here in the background. Nozoki. Okay. Thanks so much. Hey, there's Coding Monkey. Coding Monkey, I love what you did introducing Mediator. It looks like we have a compile. We have a build issue there. There was a red flag that was raised by AppVeyor. I want to give that the appropriate due. Looks like you did a lot of work there. You updated a lot of files. I'm going to schedule some time to look at that tomorrow, during tomorrow's stream, so that we can focus on that and complete that in one show. That way I'm not bouncing back and forth between a bunch of different things. I really want to give that focus because it looks like you did a lot of work there. Tomorrow I am not running the Xamarin workshop. We pushed it back a week. There were a number of folks from the Xamarin team that were unavailable for planning over the past 2 weeks, so we fell a little bit behind, and we thought it would be best, in order to deliver the quality we want for that event, to reschedule it for next Friday. Are we opting for Mediator instead of AutoMapper? I think we'll end up using both, actually, because at some point we're going to need to get our domain models mapped into our objects that we're going to use for commands and queries in Mediator. So Ashley's right. They're fairly complementary. Yeah. Helder Felipe Sousa Oliveira. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, Ancient Coder, I think we'll end up using both. And I think when we think about AutoMapper, and if Coding Monkey has a really good pull request there for us that lays out things with Mediator in a way that that we'll be able to integrate our domain models with easily, we might even be able to introduce AutoMapper in the later part of the stream where we work with that. And I'm excited for that, because that gets us even closer to this very robust framework and data interaction architecture that we've been trying to build here. So I think these are really cool things that we're building towards. And I love being able to share those pull requests with you and all of that code with you, because I think we're all learning it together, right? Some folks are experts in these tools, some folks are experts in those tools, and trying new things is how we grow. And contributing and getting feedback from each other is extremely valuable. There's a reason that folks in the medical industry do those peer reviews, and they'll write an article for a magazine. They get peers to review it, right? They get other folks that also work at the same level as they do to review and comment and give them feedback before it gets published. So I think it's great to see that same thing here. So, Straight Butta, good morning. And there's Johnny Most. Hello. Yeah, I think it's going to be great, Ancient Coder. And I like hearing the enthusiasm for that. I'm sure Jimmy would be happy to hear that as well. Jimmy Bogard, the author of the lead developer on both of those projects. Now, I'm not sure why I don't have all of these tests running, why they're all with these blue exclamation points that they should have run. Well, that's why, Jeff. There were build errors. Here we go. I want to be over here. That's where I want to be. Okay. There were build errors. We're going to fix this. Right? We still up over here? We're still good? Everybody still in the chat room? For some reason, my dashboard stopped. That's annoying. Every now and again, the Twitch dashboard stops responding to me. Yeah, I accidentally... So I have the button to start the stream on my Stream Deck, and I went to tap the button to start playing sound effects, and I hit the wrong button. That was on me. My bad. Look at that, and even my viewer count needs to be updated here. It's not showing correctly. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Well, that's working. Drink Falcon Punch. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. No, it wasn't you. Alright. It wasn't you, it was me. And for some reason, yeah, my viewer count isn't updating. And neither is the GitHub scoreboard. Huh. There it goes. Let me do this. Just to make sure everything's running properly. We'll restart all the widgets. And then we'll get back into the code. No, that's not loading properly for some reason. For some reason, Twitch is not reporting the number of viewers properly. I can see everybody there in the chat room. There we go. Now it's reporting. There we go. All right. So the reason that my unit tests aren't running is because my build is failing, and it's failing because we didn't finish implementing all of our interfaces that we started the other day for the repository objects. So let me go back to Solution Explorer. We have in our core project, right? So the core project, this is the lowest level project. Everything else is built on top of this. We have a couple of repositories defined, and we have our domain models for a wiki article, for the history articles, the history of those articles, comments attached to articles, and then the slug history. What's the history of the not just the titles, but that piece of text that goes at the end of the address that serves up these articles from the wiki. And we changed our repository objects so they go against our domain models instead of the entity framework objects. And this is part of separating entity framework from our domain so that we can get, right, we can have richer objects there. So we started implementing the article SQLite repository here, and we're not quite finished implementing everything. You can see I've got a little red speck here in the scroll bar to indicate there's an error up there. And if I scroll up to that, you can see that red speck corresponds to this red squiggly line here that indicates you didn't finish implementing the interface. There's parts here that aren't mapping to the right object. And when we map to the domain version of the article, I've started prefixing it with the word domain dot so that it has that indication. So I know the difference between the domain object article and my entity framework article, because they're different objects. They're going to behave differently in the future when we finish this refactoring. So I'm just going to continue scrolling down here. I've got a couple left to look at. Is topic available? That's just returning a Boolean, so that's okay. So here's another one. Get articles for search query. Yeah, look at that. All my hosting, the folks that were hosting me stopped. That's a shame. All right. So this one I need to throw a domain dot in front of it. So this is returning context.articles as no tracking, where, and this is returning an IQueryable. Now, an IQueryable is going to change, when this is returned, you can add additional search capabilities on top of it. And that IQueryable isn't actually executed against the database yet. It's still just a query. And until you tell it, turn this into a list or an array or a collection, it's not actually going to execute that query. But if I put something in here that says, we'll convert this to domain objects, it's actually going to execute the query now, at that point in the code. Brave Cobra asks, why not rename it to article DAO and use a table name attribute? That's not a bad idea to give us that separation. You know what? And let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit F2 to step into Visual Studio renaming refactoring. And if I put DAO over here and hit enter, it's just gone and renamed it everywhere that this is directly referenced. And there's 15 places that it's referenced. In application DB context, and also in the SQLite repository, the slug history SQLite repository, excuse me, and also in this file. It's referenced a couple places, article history, comment it's referenced, and slug history. These are all entity framework things, so I'm okay with that. Create tests, that's fine. Okay. So it's not too bad. There's another one of those hosts popping back up. Thank you. So, yes. There we go. Bunch of helpful folks in the chat room. Thanks so much for helping to answer BugFound's question. Yeah, data access object is what that stands for. So I can put a table name property here, right? Isn't that what it is? Yeah. And the table name is article. So I'm still using that same table name that we had previously, but we've got a more code-friendly name on this class. So that helps. So I'm going to save that. Thanks for the suggestion, Brave Cobra. I think this makes a little bit more sense, and we can rename this file also to article DAO, so it's a little bit clearer that, right, the same class with the same name is in that file name. Same for the others. Yep, I think we'll come around to those as I get through some more of this. So to finish this talk about IQueryable, if I put a dot select here, and we say a dot to domain here, right? This select, it is still going to return an IQueryable, and it's going to do that execution. It's going to do this as part of that execution. Consequently, those pages that reference this later, right? Those pieces of code that reference get articles for search query later are going to be doing their ordering, searching in .NET memory space on the web server, not in the database. We may need to fix that more later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put warning. This may need to be further refactored to allow for database optimized search queries. Because otherwise, right now, right where it's doing this contains on the names, it's not it's not a very robust search. So, and actually some folks have been talking about, well, let's introduce Lucene as an alternative search engine. I think it's actually a better search engine for what we're trying to do here. And I think it's something we're probably going to consider at some point in the next few weeks. There's a question from Johnny Most. Can we show how to domain works? Sure. So our article object is a very simple. It's a very simple record that's being fetched from the database. ToDomain is hanging on that article DAO, and it just returns a new domain article with some of these values already populated for us. So this is very simple right now because the domain object, it's a little anemic. It doesn't have business rules built into it yet. We're still doing this refactoring, but when we get on the other side of implementing the domain objects and using this ToDomain, and there's also another one here from domain. See it? Once we're finished implementing this everywhere, then we can start introducing some business rules that we can use to do this. Room is in slow mode, which I didn't think I turned that on. It shouldn't be in slow mode. Nope, room is not in slow mode. It's must have followed for 30 minutes is turned on. No, that's follower only mode. I don't have that turned on either. You shouldn't be getting mentioned that it's in slow mode. Yeah, I don't have slow mode turned on. Slow mode messages, really? Hang on. Let's just double check on that real quick. I'm going to open. For some reason, Twitch isn't responding on my Mac. I think there's something wrong with chat in general. Slow mode's turned off for me. I didn't want to show that. Yeah. Slow mode's... You stink. Why won't you... There we go. Slow mode is turned off. So, I'm not sure. None of these are turned on. The room is in slow mode and you're sending messages too quickly. No. Yeah, I turned it on and turned it off. But I'm not actually getting chat appearing in my dashboard. I have it appearing, of course, in the video, and it's not loading. I've got two machines browsing to that, and it's not loading. I think there's a issue on Twitch. It's off now. Okay, good. It feels like there's an issue at Twitch because I am not getting chat loading in my browser at all. Good thing I'm using an alternative client. Resuming. That's what the ToDomain is doing. It's converting things from the DAO, from the data record object here, so that the domain is an abstraction layer. Yes, and we're going to put our business rules in there so that it's centralized. Continuing through, this is our repository that sits in front of Entity Framework. So exists, that's okay, no change needed there. Update, receiving a domain article and updating it. This looks like it's okay as well. And actually, take a look. The red speck that we saw on the side for the interface not being implemented has cleared up. So we've got that working properly now. Good. Let's take a look at the next one. I'm going to step away from the search pages. So the next one is Slug History Repository. And this one doesn't have anywhere near as many features here. Now I'm going to go back to what Brave Cobra was saying. I think it was likely a Twitch fail. You're right, John Dreloon. Yeah. Why not return an IEnumerable already? Should work. I'll come back to that. I'm not opposed. So Slug History, we're saying probably the same thing here. We should rename this to Slug History DAO. Would you also like to perform a rename in the project for all references to the code element Slug History? Yes, please. Thank you. There were 4 references in the DB context and in the SQLite repository. So it should be pretty easy now to find those places where it's been renamed, and we just need to change it so it's using the domain version of that. So I'm going to change this to return a domain Slug History. And it's a little bit clearer here already why this doesn't work. So context, Slug Histories include, and it's going to go find first or default, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put I don't have a to domain. Right, actually, wait a sec. Yeah, it's returning 1. So I need a to domain on the Slug History. And it's not letting me generate that method. So let's go back over to Slug History DAO. And let's put on this one. Right, because there is a domain object. Let's put a core domain Slug History to domain. Come here, you. Return new. Yep, one of those. Okay. And what's in the domain Slug History? Nothing. We haven't built this out yet. Dream Team here in chat. Hey, Akira. Oh, I forgot table Slug History. Good catch. Thank you, Ace Flames here. That's why I like to refer to folks in the chat room as our pair programmers, because you catch some pretty good stuff there. Thank you very much. Slug History. That way it maintains that same connection even though I changed it. Why isn't it picking that up? That's better. Chef Brent! Oh my gosh, thanks so much for the subscription with your Twitch Prime. I really appreciate that. You get to use the .NET bot emote out there in the chat rooms. Make sure you check out Chef Brent. He's going to be doing some coding in the future here. He's restarting his stream. And make sure on Monday nights, check out Chef Brent and Ellieface on Ellieface's channel. They do a great cooking show called Cooking with Heat. Really neat stuff over there. I enjoy watching that on Monday nights. Andre says, there can be some tests using refactoring that ensures the DAO classes have a table attribute. That's not a bad idea. But I think that's a one-time thing. That might be something... yes, Adam, that's exactly where I was going to go. We can make that into a analyzer as well. Akira, I've used annotations like you're doing here, and then I moved to Fluent API. Advantage is that you have all configuration in just one place, easy to maintain and navigate. So this is a very good point, and something that I appreciate that there's flexibility here. I like having everything for this object here, so that I know when I'm looking at this object that's going to be stored, I can see all in one place. Well, here's the table. Oh, this field, it's required, it's the key, and it's database generated. Versus having a very POCO, very plain old CLR object here, and having all these database things over in another file that has that fluent configuration. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It does the same thing in both places. I think it's syntactic sugar is what we call that, right? It does the same thing. It's just available for you in both places, as some folks have preferences. So the endpoint is the same. EF migrations will use Fluent API in place of data annotations. No, it should use both. It should. All right, so here's what I'm going to do to make sure that my domain object has very much the same capabilities. I'm going to start just like I did with the article by just copying out what's here, and I'll paste it in, and then we'll start slowly getting rid of things that don't belong here, like these attributes. We don't need these attributes. Added I do want, and added date time I don't want. Added date time is there strictly for persistence to the database. Instant I do want that type. And this should be an article. Okay. Now, yeah, I think we're good there. I'm going to go back over to this, and I will trim out my toDomain object. So I'll start by added equals this dot added. Continuing, article equals this dot article dot toDomain, so that I get the domain object coming back out. ID equals this ID, and last old slug equals this dot old slug. And like I said, we may change this, we may enhance this later. All right. Okay. So now my slug history DAO has a toDomain object, so I can convert. I'll go back over to the repository, and this... it's not... I can only do the toDomain after it's occurred. There we go. And next one, add to history, string old slug, and then article DAO article. Well, we're actually going to be receiving an article, which is a core domain article. And then we're going to need to convert it and create a slug history DAO. So the article that we're referencing is going to be article, and now I can say, I'm going to go from domain to the DAO article. So let's go article, this should be article DAO from domain article. Okay. Added date time, that's fine. And that's it. All the red's gone. This one is satisfying its interface properly. So we're good there on our slug history objects. Next. Comments, and you see comments has the red line. You don't need the this is there. No, you don't, but it makes it a little bit more explicit. A little bit easier to read, I think. So comments, if we look over here, comments have very basic object here for the domain object. But once again, we don't have comment DAO in place here. So I'm going to do that same refactoring again. So table, comment, and then I will rename this. If I rename the file, it looks like it'll do the appropriate renaming across the board. There we go. Yes. So 7 references. Shouldn't be too bad to catch all of these. Now, I think I do have my from domain, and I do have my toDomain. So this should be really easy to clean up here. And now, you're right, Brave Cobra, look at that. It's really easy to see when it's not adhering to this. So if I change this back and make this core.domain, comment, context comments add async, not just comment model. I want to say comment DAO from domain. Done. And I think that's the only one I have here. So that's pretty easy. And let's rename article history while we're here. DAO. Yes, please. Okay, and table. And this was, right, article history. Protected articles. I'm okay with this. This is just a quick reference. That's fine. All right. How are my unit tests? We're still not getting tests. All right, so let's build and see what's not working. Good morning, Aaron and Cincy. And lucky number 7, good afternoon. Oh, lucky number 7, don't you do a lot of work with Twitch extensions? Is it necessary to have virtual articles in slug history? I don't think so. We may be able to take that and fix that. What do we have here? The typer namespace name article history does not exist. So it looks like we have a couple of things we need to clean up here. Why didn't it like that? Let me look at the editor list. We can get rid of that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You're designing multiple extensions right now. So, yeah, Lucky, I'm having a bit of a challenge trying to understand and learn how to use the developer rig for the Twitch extensions. I'm trying to build an extension for use here on stream, and wow, the instructions for using that aren't as friendly as I would prefer. So, yes, the rig. Okay. I'm not the only one. Now, why is this complaining here? Cannot be used as parameter type in the generic type or method under configured database. Why not? Because it's missing my using statement for those. That's why. Moving on. Search. Ah, okay, so some of these are in the wrong place. So let's take this, and let's do a Control-Shift-H. We're going to look for that. Yeah, I thought we already did this. Yes. Now, let me see how that error list looks. Article history. Yep, alright, my error list is cleaning up. Let's rebuild. I guess the docs haven't gotten better for extensions. They can use some help. Aaron and Cincy says, you were searching in the current project. Don't know if that'll catch them all. You're right. It might not catch them all. We'll take a look. We'll figure out if we need to do more there. What do we got here? This reference, article could not be found. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we need to make sure that we're referencing the domain namespace. And I'm just going to pin the error list here because I think we're going to be able to blast through this pretty easy with just a couple of Visual Studio control dots to say, yeah, just fix it. iArticle search engine. Ooh, okay. So this should be returning domain objects. Okay, the search engine's going to have a little bit of a challenge there. I'm going to change this one by hand. That's fine. old index. On get async. Okay, so here, article. This is a list of core domain articles. Context, look at this. It's referencing. Where is this coming out of? Where the heck? Oh, this is the original index. We don't use this anymore, do we? Right, up here. So here's the pages, and there's this old index. I don't think we actually use this. As you asked me a question, I'd like to ask you one. Okay. I have several Azure functions, however, want to front a couple of these publicly with JWT-based authentication authorization. What are my options? Wow. I'm not a big expert on Azure functions. I'm learning them. I'm slowly learning them, and I'm building some. That's part of the things that I'm learning in order to build these Twitch extensions that I'm working on. What I'm running into is that the only places I see for authorization really are around, right, there's those 3 function authorization capabilities: anonymous, function, or admin. And you need to pass a client ID. And that feels bad. That feels incomplete. But if you want to use JWT authentication, I feel like you almost need to add another layer in there somewhere. That's a really good question, lucky number 7. I would end up spinning up a full ASP.NET Core application so that I could use JWT, because I think that's a little bit further than a function at this point. But there's got to be a way to do that. I would be Googling for it. Look at the options pane in your function app. You'll be able to choose between Azure AD, Google, Facebook. In a function app? Akira says, I came late and I'm trying to understand what you are doing. You renamed some of them to Entity DAO. Can you give me a summary of the starting point and your target point? Yes. Give me just a second. That'll be the next thing we go over here. TwitchLib extension workout. I refuse to use the TwitchLib extension because it's they're having problems with how they use async and await, and it hides some of the interactions with the HTTP client, and I can, for my purposes, I can build it a little bit more directly, and take advantage of optimizing some things where, as a framework, TwitchLib doesn't want to optimize. I'm going to delete this old index. This is an old page that we don't use anymore, so that's gone. I saw a Blazor demo that has Authenticator in it. Right, so we put DAO on these so that we could tell if we were referencing the entity or domain object. But is that G barely? Yeah, barely? I'm not familiar with being able to light up those other authentication options from an Azure function. I would have to Google it. I'm sorry. Off the top of my head right now, I would have to search for it. And that's going to take me a little bit further off task than I want to go right now. It's in the function app via platform features. So that's interesting because, and I very much appreciate the tip there, G. Byerly. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Because Mimo86, thanks so much for the follow. I don't see that in the documentation. It's not clear to me that you can do that as I've been reading through the documentation. And as a newbie, it's not clear. Oh, you want to use the JWT that Twitch supplies. So that's another thing, right? Out of the box, JWT support for things that aren't from those 3 or 4 major OAuth endpoints just aren't there. And I'd love to see a community that is able to build and add those other endpoints. With Azure AD B2C, that's business to consumer, you can add Twitch to it. Yes, but adding Azure AD to something is a little bit tricky. You could federate it, yes. But adding Azure AD to a project is a lot for some people. DAO should only be visible in the EF project. Yes. So coming back here, what we're trying to do is and to who was it who was asking that? Akira was asking. Let me make sure I go through this before I get back into some of these other security questions. We're trying to isolate the database interactions and the database objects into one project, so that those database objects and considerations are not leaking into the rest of our application, so that everything that these use and reference in order to communicate with the database stays in one place, so that all the database concerns are here in this project. And then I wrap them, I put that content into a domain object that'll be richer, and we can put more of our business rules in, so that before we interact with the database, we can do whatever business rule processing we need to. And once that's completed, then do our interactions with storage. Not a problem with the sidetrack. I'm always happy to answer questions. Now you've got me wondering about that, and I want to go look for it. But I feel like there might be a piece missing in Azure Function documentation to interact with those OAuth endpoints. Self-host identity server, I wouldn't do that. That feels like a lot. Yes, Adam Schneider, the DAOs are internal to this project. However, I have to make them public so that they can be interacted with by the entity framework tools. All right, so let's see here. Typer namespace article could not be found. So I'm here inside of articles DB search engine, which lives under CoreWiki search engines. Now this is up here. Here's another thing that we could end up moving out into another project. Internal methods. No. We're okay. So let's look at this. So once again, we have the interface sitting right next to the concrete implementation. That feels wrong. The interface here should probably be over in the core project. And in fact, I'm not even going to think twice about this. I am just going to grab this and move it right into interfaces down here. So iArticles search engine. I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to make this CoreWiki.interfaces. It should be core.interfaces. And then this should be domain.article. Come on. Now, search result doesn't exist anywhere because search result is actually over here. Search result should be another. This should be another domain. Brady Gaster stopping by. Good morning, Brady. Enjoying some waffles and code, I'm guessing. He's over there waving. Good morning. Good to see you. There we go. So you got a coupon for Sticker Mule for 50 round stickers at a great deal. You're thinking Rainbow Jeff. Do they have glitter? Now cut that out! You can put whatever you want, no glitter. Rainbow with glitter. Brady's a little slow on the uptake today. He's still having his waffles. That would probably negate the coupon. Oh, there you go. Coffee with a croissant. All right. Whatever. So this search result object, I'm going to move this over as well into interfaces. I think it makes sense. Some logic, domain, and DTO for search result as well. Yeah. Search result feels kind of not into interfaces. Let's put this. I'll put it into domain, even though it's not really a domain. But all right. So make this core domain. That's cool. So now iArticle search engine. Cool. That works. Now, right now, the way that this works, Articles DB search engine does its thing to be able to search. Let's make this domain dot. Should be core domain article. Yes. New search result. Core domain article. Good. That works. So an I search result. Yes. It might be a view model. It is a bit view model-ish search result. However, the search engine returns search results. Because the search result has all the different information about, well, how many things it found. Hola. Yes. Better to create a namespace search. I think there's definitely more that we need to do around search. Yes. There's definitely more to be done here. But it didn't all belong up here inside of search engines. Now, why is search result here? Go away. Shoo. I removed you. I put you down here. Now go away. So search result. So this now I should be able to change to that, which means I don't need this. And looks like we're in a better place. Search CSHTML. I'm going to control dot on that and get some using statements. One left. Woohoo! Get existing article as the wrong type. Ah, so this is the page Ashley just gave us. So right now, get existing article. Why does it have the wrong return type? Create test, get existing article. Oh, okay. Article repository setup, get article by slug, get existing article. This should be returning a domain article. I'm going to control dot on that. And I should be able to change this, and that should still work. Bazinga. All right, how are my tests? Try it again. With feeling. Do it this time. Do it. Do it. Closer, right? No, I don't want to run the test from the last. Articles DB search engine. What do we got? Configure scoped services. Oh, we're missing a control dot on this. All right. Typer namespace article could not be found. We're missing a control dot on this. Good. Create articles from list. Same deal. And this one we need to change over as well. Comment ID article cannot be assigned to. It is read-only. I'm not opposed. Just do it. Do it. Do it. I kind of agree. Do it. We're going to do it. Mazel says, spammed with is new here. Lots of, that's just fine. We're always happy to welcome some new friends. Searching is not a pure UI concern. Correct. I agree. Searching is something that should be more service oriented, and we're close on that. This, I feel like I want to make it. I feel like I want to make that. Oh, if I make that a get set, it's going to be weird. Moogle fam, thanks so much for joining us, Moogle. I appreciate the follow. Things are falling into their right place. Amen, Ace Flameseer. I completely agree. You know why I agree?
But what I do have
I do.
are a very particular set of skills.
Very particular.
Skills I have acquired over a very long career.
A very long career. You can tell because my beard is gray. Searching is a human thing, and basically only humans need UI. So wouldn't that mean search equals UI? Search? All right, so Brady has a very good discussion here. Search is an API. There's, right, how I do that search, how the logic of that search occurs, what matching, what algorithm we use. There's an endpoint there that really is just, here's this piece of text that I'm searching for, go find something. There's a user interface that goes in front of that, but search is a service, and I want to put an API in front of that search engine facility so that I can easily put whatever user interface in front of that. In this case, we're using a Razor page, but in the future, we might put a Xamarin application. We might put a WPF application. Oh, let's do this. Yeah. We won't necessarily load that virtual article. I kind of agree. All right. Either way, search is a thing, a service, a UI, whatever, that is only needed by a human. Needs UI. Oh, look at this one. Brady? Voice text box connect. Love that first one. So one of the things that I would really like to do at some point in the future... No, Brady! Oh my gosh! I want to put either an Alexa skill or a Cortana skill in front of CoreWiki at some point, so we can learn how to use those things. But imagine being able to ask Cortana or Alexa or even, what's her name, Siri? You know, be able to say, right? Alexa, search CoreWiki for, and it reads back to you the article from CoreWiki. That's amazing. It'll be a world exclusive. I know. You said, Alexa, when you asked her when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, she said never as of a few days ago still. View models are essentially the page models in Razor pages. Yes. The class returned by the service should be defined by the domain. Yes. Following that logic, we don't need back-end programmers. Oh, snap! All right. So it's this bit here. So are we ever really using this article? Let's take a look at it. We're bringing that back in details. We fetch the article. I don't think we're actually using the article object here anywhere. I think you might be right. So let's change this around. If we say make this get set. And if we make this the domain object never really reaches into this for a comment. Let's get rid of it. Let's see what we broke now, because I know we broke something. Yes, we broke something. Oh, yes, we broke something. On post, I don't really need that. I need the ID article, that way. And then this can become article.id. What else? Show me where else it's broken. Is Blazor development far enough to try to use that with this project? I think we could. I think we certainly could. And I had a conversation with Steve Sanderson and Dan Roth about Blazor, and they'd be interested in joining us for a chat, talk about Blazor. Maybe we can ask Dan or Steve to walk through and show us a little bit of Blazor, doing a little bit of interaction here with this project. Okay. Not something that I can help with. All right. All right, so now we're running into some of these where... What do we got here? Comment does not contain a definition for article. All right, so this is in the to domain. I don't really care about article. I care about ID article. So let's change this to ID like that. Not article. Gasper, is that Gasper Arnez 1? Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. And look forward to seeing you in the chat room. CoreWiki as Blazor plus Electron. Ooh, Brave Cobra. I like it. That would be a lot of fun. My flight leaves for Jamaica in 18 hours. Aaron, that sounds awesome. Veronica, this TCP service is really giving me a headache. You need a holiday. Amen. You know what? I feel similarly. Not about TCP service, but I could use a holiday as well, let me tell you. So a lot of folks interested in learning Blazor. Okay. Amazing to see those DLLs loading in the browser. Network tab. Yes. No, I have... So I mentioned the schedule update. We're not doing the Xamarin Workshop tomorrow. It'll be next Friday. The week after that, the week of the 20th through the 25th, probably not that weekend either, the 26th. We'll see about that, see how I feel. I'm having surgery. I will not be hosting the stream that week. I'm having sinus surgery, and basically this is going to be like a mess. I'm going to really have a face for radio at that point. Whew. But we'll be back the week after. And I'm still reaching out and talking to folks, trying to reach folks at Ignite to make sure that I can stream from Ignite. I think that's going to be amazing. So we'll see about that. But want to make sure that you know that we're going to be out for a week. That's not a holiday. I'm getting surgery done. In November, I'm taking a week with the family on holiday, and most of December, I'm going to be taking off from work. I might jump in a couple of streams here and there. Thanks a lot, Nizoki. I appreciate that. Everyone say a prayer for Jeff? No. I'll be in fine shape. I've got the finest people that are going to fix this schnoz. Gasper Arnez asks, what programming languages do you know? All of them. I know every programming language. No. C#, Visual Basic. We tried to learn a little F#. We need to get back to that. JavaScript, CSS, HTML. I know enough C++ to be dangerous. Very dangerous. TypeScript. It's been a while since I've used Ruby, but I've done Ruby, PHP. I've been around the block. So. Oh, thanks, Veronica. I appreciate that. It's a huge challenge. November is the Rainbow, not Bear. For October is the Rainbow Beard Challenge, right? So if we get to 5,000 followers, and you see the tote there, the tote board, this Moz was suggesting this, that I should dye my beard rainbow. And if we get there for October 20th, we will dye the beard rainbow, and Brady will have a lot of fun with that. You've never had to go Delphi? No, I haven't. Don't tell Anders. It's bad enough I've named my handle and my channel here after C#. Let me tell you how weird that was, having Mads Torgerson on. We're talking about his product, and that's my nick. All right, moving on. Let's see if we can clean up these last couple errors here. Typer namespace service comment DTO does not exist. Now, where is it complaining that doesn't exist? Create comments. Oh, look at this. These are in the generated Razor files. They should still be out there, right? They're out there. I think we need to do a rebuild here just to make sure. Right. So, come on. Build failed. Okay. So this is createcomments.g.cshtml. So when you see that there, that .g.cshtml, that's the generated code that Razor's building for you. McNerdius says Blazor plus VS Code equals amazing. I think that's really cool. So I gotta figure out what's going on here with the create comments page. That looks weird to me, you know? Where is it? Is it create comments? Here it is, create comments. Data models comments, comment DTO. It doesn't exist in CoreWiki.data.models. No, because it's in just CoreWiki.models. So let's get rid of that. That's better. Okay. List comments. So here, it's interesting. It didn't pick that up. And so create comments, list comments, article row. So article row. You know what? When we did that refactor last time, and we asked it to go find these and move them, it didn't quite find them all the way. We'll also need to modify it in the CS file if it didn't already refactor it. You might be right. You might be right. Let's get rid of that as well. Actually, since we said use models, we can get rid of this. Okay. All right, let's try to build again. Refactoring doesn't work very well for the CSHTMLs. You're right, Ashley. And the team's very well aware of that. They're working on greatly improving the Blazor, not Blazor. We've been talking about Blazor, the Razor editors, and updating them so that they're a little bit easier to work with, and we get some of this refactoring happening, and it's a little bit more tightly integrated with the C# tools. Comments partial CSHTML. Where is that? Is it down here? I bet you it has. Yup. So we'll fix that. I think we're in a good place. It was in the last ASP.NET community stand-up. See that? Nice one there, Fretya. Fretya? Points for Fretya. They showed some preview of it. Yep. I have 100% faith in the .NET Visual Studio team. They've been rocking the features. Yeah, they've been doing a great job. And Test Explorer, everything's green. Before I go any further, let's commit everything. Everything looks like it is working. All right. Let's try it. The moment has arrived. I know, HMigo, I know! All right, what do we got? What do we got? Come on. This should be faster. And it's opening on the wrong screen. Oh, no such table. Article. Aha! We made our table names singular. I think they need to be plural. No, wrong one. Close up there so we can see it around my melon. All right. I think this needs to be articles. Right, because if I look at... Where's the context? Right, article history should be right. I think this should be comments. What do we got? Migrations. Yeah, the migrations should be okay. And I think it's slug history. You know what we can do? I think I have that. Yeah, DB browser for SQLite. Let's just open the database and look. You know what I mean? I mean, it is right here. Just saying. Bin, debug, netcore app. Oh, wait. We put it in app data. Haha. There we go. Look at that. Article histories and slug histories, articles and comments. I was right! So let's change this. And it was over here as well. Okay. One more time. All right, cross all your fingers, cross your toes too. Please work, please. Please tell me this is going to work, please.
It can be done exactly how I want it.
It will be done.
The only question is,
What?
are you the man to do it?
Of course I am. And it worked! Oh my gosh, we made so many changes there, I can't believe it still works. Look at it! It's beautiful! Woohoo! Alright, I need, like, fireworks or something. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Not like this, not like this. And does the search work? Second. Search works. I don't want to register, I want to log in. Log in as Twitter. The man at jeffreyfritz.com. That's me. History works. What happened? What happened? If I had bits, I'd throw them. We'll look at that error here in just a second. I clicked history and it kind of blew. It really blew up. Why did it blow up? Access violation. Look at that right there. Uh-oh. Kapow! I know. It's during startup. I saw that. Executed database command. Okay, hang on. Select from article histories as history. All right. Let's see if we can step into this and see what's going on, why that's blowing up, because that feels bad. And, so it's in history. And it's going to be in the on get. So let's put a breakpoint here and see if we can figure out what's going on there. Close the DB browser. Ooh, that might be it. I know, I haven't seen this in a long time either. But, yeah. Alright. So if I click this. Alright, so I'm good there. Go get the data. Bang! Gone. Well, that's a problem. Okay, so it's clearly here during this search. Why does it protect tables and columns with double quotes? No, this is data coming back from... I'm sorry, this is data going into application insights so that I can see the telemetry. Where is it? Select a history as a.history. That is interesting that it put quotes around it like that. I don't know. But access violation. Why am I getting an access violation on this? We didn't need history anyway. We're almost there. Single or default async to lower. And then we return article to domain. So if I put a breakpoint here, what's it do? What's it do? What's it do? All right. Okay, so here we are. That. Okay, so at this point, I've got the article. Article with histories by slug. Okay, so now I'm calling toDomain on this. So let's step into toDomain. I have a feeling one of these is what's Why is the author ID? Because the author ID and the author name are sitting over in the user database, different location. All right. So author ID is fine. Author name is fine. I'm not going to touch that comments. Content looks fine. ID, yeah. Published, fine. Slug, topic. These are all standard strings. These should be okay. Now here we go. Comments, 0. So that should be fine. History, h.toDomain. Oh, you know what? The history is one article history, which references article, which references history. Da, da, da. And it's just going to loop on this and go kind of crazy. Bang. It's loading itself so much. Yeah, it's an infinite loop. Yeah, we infinite looped ourselves. I suspected that when we wrote these and they were referencing that. So let's take a look at the history to domain. I don't think the history needs access to the article. Right? Because when I'm looking at the article history page, it has article history DTO, and when we're painting this page, I don't think we have the article on this. There are no leftovers from the EF navigation properties. Those are leftovers from it, yes. Nice eyes. What do you mean? What did we do? Model article topic. So we do need that information from the article, but we don't need that second level of history. History of model article topic. So this is the information from the article, and then we have the actual history objects, article history. But what we're returning is the history model, going back over to, we don't need this, that, we don't, no, that one I need. Can I say, there used to be a thing like close everything to the right, you know? Go away. Shoe. No, not you either. I'm going to make this happen the way I want it to. That's all I want. All right. So now looking at this, I'm returning an article history. Oh, an article history DTO. Ooh. Hang on. Ashley, you might have saved the day here. You might have saved the day. I'm just saying. Topic, version, author name, published, history. And the history is version, author name, published. So, no, you may have saved the day because we don't need to bring back the full domain object, right? We don't need to go spinning through everything. We might be able to just, when we grab history, right? We don't need, let's pin this here. We don't need for, where's my history object? Get article histories by slug. More read. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. We're working on our .NET applications architecture here a little bit, and I think we've found some pretty interesting things. So, in the article histories, right? Because it's it wasn't this one. No. It was, right, like get article history by slug. Yeah. So articles include history, So those history objects that are coming back, I don't need the article object because this is returning that. So article to domain. So let's look at that. It's this, the history to domain. I don't need that article navigation object. So let's, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Right there. Oh wait, this is article history DAO. Put that back. Put that back. Turn off nav for that property. No, it's in the, wait a sec. From article, from domain, to domain, this one. I don't need the article coming back in the domain object. I don't need this. It's referenced in 2 places, and both of them are in my conversions. Yep. Yep. Which is going to break things, and that's okay, because we'll go remove them. Return new article history. Don't need it. Because I can say, wait a sec. Wait a tick. This is the domain object. I need the article ID here. At the very least. Just remove virtual. This is extreme programming at its finest. It is, Maureen. It's more like mob programming because Ashley and Andre and Brave Cobra have had some great suggestions here, right? They're folks in the chat room really are pair programmers helping here. An access violation is probably worth a bug report. You might be right. You might be right. I think I do need the article ID. Do I? No, I don't think I do. Let's delete it and just let's see what happens. Return new article history DAO history.article.id. And this is from the domain object. Let's do this. I need the article ID. So let's just make it article ID. We'll make a property over there called article ID. Go back over there. Public int. Fine. That's fine. So then I can put article ID equals article dot ID. Right? What do you think? Hey, Jeff. This is Kelvin Duels. Hey, welcome. Just wanted to thank you for that 8th stream on ASP.NET Core for beginners. Still watching it and learning a lot. Terrific. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Kelvin, and I wish you best of luck learning. We've got plenty more streams. We've done over 115 streams, all kinds of content. So thank you so much. Just don't use dark mode. I agree. Don't use no. Friends tell friends not to use light mode or something like that. I do want to fix the black mug. I was talking to our friend Ellieface about changing it. I've actually put. We'll fix those mugs. So folks that have mugs, those are subscribers. And you get a different color mug based on how long you've been subscribing. So we have a black mug for new subscribers. There it is. When you cross 3 months, you get a red mug. Red. 6 months will get you not a black mug. We'll get you a blue mug next to your name in chat. And 1 year will get you a gold mug. What I'm thinking is that for the black one, on the dark background, it doesn't show up and it really looks bad in the chat. I'm thinking I want to put just a slight white border around it so that you can see it. I think that's going to be the way to do this. Dark mode saves energy. Maybe it does. So, there you go. I think that But I think putting the article ID in here directly instead of using those navigation properties, because we don't actually use the article. Where's my error list? It's a JavaScript thing. Blech, JavaScript. Dark gray border should be enough. Could be. Could be. I'll get my artist to go help out on that. You might know him. His name is Jeff. All right, build succeeded. Let's give this a shot and see if we hit our access violation. Come on. Come on. We've got this. We've got this. Did you know that dark gray is lighter than gray? No. I didn't. That feels bass-ackwards, though. See what I did there? Still not swearing on stream. Okay. Here we go. Article to domain. It didn't blow up. It worked! It worked! Okay. So we've got history. Can we do a new article? This article is actually a domain object. I like software architecture. I like big software architecture. Create. Yes. Is it on my latest changes now? Article is actually a domain object. Can it still compare? Good question. No, really. It is. Oh! Truncate title or JavaScript will make the boxes the same size, maybe. Maybe. What do we got here? The instance or entity type article DAO cannot be tracked because another instance with the same key is already being tracked. When attaching existing entities, ensure that only one instance with a given key value is attached. Say what? Alright, so this is article SQLite repository update. You know what's probably going on here? This is article SQLite repository line 126. Let's go find that. Article SQLite. So article from domain, and then we attach it. When we get those articles, yep, as no tracking, okay. Articles any async. That's okay. Create article end history. That's okay too. I don't need that right now. Let me just navigate this back to CoreWiki and leave it there. All right. You know what? Ah, shoot, I closed it. You're adding things to the context twice with the same. There's an add or an update for an object already in local cache. That's what I'm thinking, right? Is here. But it's already there. I'm saying attach this thing that I've created. And then... do I need to break this out? Learn the hard way with the var type package. Consider that EF doesn't do a reference equal. It looks at the ID. Yeah, it does look at the ID. And right, this from domain is setting the ID right there. Yeah, it is using the same ID. let's, and it was 126. It was this one specifically it was going after. Has no tracking all the way and attach on demand. Right. Get rid of that. Get article with history. So this, we should do as no tracking. Same thing here as no tracking. Get articles by slug. Could be as no tracking. No, get latest. This one should have as no tracking. Get all articles paged. There we go. That's add. I still think it works on context.entity something. Yeah. Is it being tracked when we pull it out of the database? Are there any penalties for no tracking when reattaching? I don't think so. And we're actually, the object that we're passing back, yeah, here, look at this. I like seeing that. One exception. Nice. Right, we're conjuring this from the ether, as it were. I'm going to put, right? It was like in here somewhere. Everything's kind of moved down a little bit because I put the extra lines of code in there. All right, here we go. Here we go. We got this. We got this, team. I think we've got this down. I think you're right about throwing the no tracking on all these issues. All right, let's edit the home page. Narf. All right, here we go. Did it do anything? Oh. All right, so there's my EF article. Let's take a look at this. No comments, no history yet. That's not too bad. Okay, this is the default home page. ID, so this all looks good. This is version 2 we're creating. Here we go. That looked like it worked. Did we do it? Okay, so history. There they are. That looks good. Let me go over to latest changes and come back in that way. This article is actually a domain object. I'll click edit on that. And I cannot lie. I'm at my breakpoint. I think we got it. I think we got it, team. And if I click history. Yes! All right. You just made me throw up a little in my mouth. What? No, what did Andre say? These didn't happen in Visual Fox Pro. Can we leave Visual Fox Pro lay where it is? But I think we got it, team. I think we got it. We can do some user interface cleanup here. I thought we had this cleaned up a little bit, but I think we're in great shape. The view count here, I think I'm willing to bet that view count is only counting for the current version, and it's not summing up. Unit tests should have caught this. This is an entity framework consideration. If we had unit tested with the memory provider for entity framework, I think you're right. All right, so I'm going to stop this. Go back over here, and I'm going to, it works. I'm going to commit And let's look at the log, because I'm going to do a little rebasing here. And yeah, I'm going to rebase the last two. So, excuse me. Head tilde 2 says take those last two and we're going to squash them together as one commit. We should discuss if testing with memory provider should be called unit testing. Testing with so this is a very interesting point. There's an in-memory provider you can use with Entity Framework to make sure that you're properly interacting with Entity Framework. I do kind of agree that it's more like an integration test. However, it has value. It does have value. But for the purposes of the rest of my application, I don't want to be thinking about that. I'm going to change this line. I'm going to change the commit message. And let's say something cool like finished implementing domain models and mapping from Entity Framework. Cool. Can we just agree to call them automated tests? Sure. If you're testing a small piece of functionality, it's a unit test. If you're testing more complex logic, it's an integration test. And I think there's a boundary there between how much code you're executing during that test that should be considered. It is a gray subject. Yeah. Yeah, that's... Who was it? Somebody was saying, should we look into that error that was popping up? Let's take a quick look at that while we're here. So I'm going to go into CoreWiki, and I'm going to say .NET run. We've got this. Ugh. Rerun this command with elevated access. Disable the first run experience. Copy the .NET Core SDK, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so scroll up here for a second. Slug history DAO added date time is obsolete. I'm okay with those. The using directive for CoreWiki core interfaces appeared previously in this namespace at configured database 3.7. Yeah, do it. Configure database. Yeah, it's in there twice. Don't need that. The field my date role models role manager is never used. This is my roles CSHTML CS. This one. Okay. Let's clear this. .NET run one more time. We should get rid of... I'm going to get rid of this thing. I'm going to get rid of that right now. Yes. Thank you. I saw that message on my Linux box as well. Administrator rights needed since the fallback NuGet location is not user writable. Yeah. Yeah. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to give you a backup cache. What is that? Process cannot access the file C program files NuGet SDK blah 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 blah. It's being used by another process. Try it again. Are you going to publish CoreWiki to an Azure web app? I think that's the destination that we're looking for, EM Triple. Yep. Personally, for automated tests with EF, I prefer an in-memory SQL since the default memory provider does not validate constraints. Oh, that feels weird. What the heck is this? Process cannot access the file. C program files blah 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 blah. Cannot access. It's being used by another process. Well then. Prove me wrong. Try that again. It's failing to expand the packages? Don't know. Use straw poll as poll earlier so I can continue my push to push my signal or poll one. What? Come on. That makes me feel bad that I need to close Visual Studio in order to be able to .NET run. I'm fine with those two for right now. We'll clean those up later. Okay. So now we're at the point that it's showing, right, I haven't hit any other errors. We've cleaned up those things. Let's open a new browser. And I can just click right into Core. Oh, that's not the right. That's the wrong CoreWiki. Nope. Right, isn't it 8080? Isn't that? No. Yeah. Localhost 8080. Oops. My bad. Why is it listening on 8080 and 8081? 5000 is kind of a default for a lot of other projects, so that you don't have any kind of a conflict as well. Okay. So that ran. I don't see that error now. Did that error go away because we fixed this? Did we make it better? CoreWiki. Even though I feel it should be 8443. That's not bad either. Let's see, what do we got here? Doubtfully. I don't know. I might have. Come on, give me some credit. Shoo. My SignalR project ends up extensions as well, mostly. The reason it was changed is because 5000 was being used by some Apple process. Yeah. Come on. Bang, there it was. Right here. Authentication failed because the remote party has closed the transportation stream. The transport stream. Failed to authenticate HTTPS connection. Yeah, this isn't us. That's weird. But from this point forward, I don't see this error. Right, let's... Okay. And let me go back. Hello? Thank you. cd dev CoreWiki. I think we're in a really good spot. That was the redirection thingy. Yeah. That's apparently only in debug mode. I think you're right. Hanselman blogged something about HTTPS yesterday. Okay. Don't know the guy. Never heard of him. He might be watching. What do I know? So I went to localhost 8080. And I didn't get the error. I think it's a Visual Studio only thing. What did I change? So I removed those couple things. So I'm just going to amend the existing. I spelled amend wrong. Cool. Same for John. Say his name 3 times and he might pop up. There's ways to make him pop up. Is there a command for a bang with him? I like that idea. Having a Hanselman command. Is Brady still here? No, Brady took off. That's kind of funny. And then we have Hansel facts up here. Hanselman. He's a great guy. I enjoy the time that we spend working together. So there we go. We've updated our project now with our new domain objects. And our project new data, right? If I go into our new data architecture, refactor entity framework, this, create DTO, create fluent configuration, and remap repository objects to return entity objects. I think we've done this. Create domain objects, this one. Hello. Allow us to centralize our validation. We've done this as well. Introduce mediator is in progress. Split domain and logic from the database layer and the UI towards DTD. This is coming. Wywern14, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you tuning in. Navy SEALs, what? How you doing? Thanks for joining us, Navy SEALs. If you are a Navy SEAL, thanks so much for your service. I always like to thank folks in the service, for folks in the military, for their service. They've sacrificed a lot for us. Much respect for all of them. What I'm working on, we've been building this project. It's an open source project that uses ASP.NET Core, so it works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, called CoreWiki. It's a way for us to learn how to build an application from scratch that does basic database interactions, but provides a wiki, kind of like Wikipedia, that folks can edit, write their own content into. So we've been learning how to do different things, and over the last few weeks we've been learning about advanced software architecture. And today we introduced a series of domain models into the application so that we can separate the content that we're presenting on screen and the business processes and validation around them from what we actually write into the database. So it makes it a little bit easier for us to grow and maintain the application by centralizing those business rules, putting them in one place. That makes it a lot easier for our domain experts to have one place to work, for them to enforce and put their business rules and business processes, and then our database experts can do their database work in database-specific places. Looking in on how others work is interesting. It is. Have you ever had an interview scheduled that you weren't that interested in? Yes, I have. And I haven't taken interviews with folks about things that I wasn't gung-ho about. Because if I'm not interested about it before going into the interview, what are the chances I'm going to be interested in it going out of the interview? Unless the person can really talk me into it. So I get a little worried about that, Veronica. Best of luck to you. It's an interview for a job, I'm assuming. Yeah. Be careful. Comps for food. Is having a subfolder for repositories not needed? Should it be in root? Having a data folder is redundant. Yes, Brave Cobra, we did get the latest dev in. let me come back here. Let's take a look at this for comps for food and answer that question. So in our web project, and we probably could rename this. Let me open this up a little. We probably could rename this to CoreWiki.web to make it clear that this is the web project. We don't really have a data. We don't really have a data folder here, but we do have a data project down here that has just our entity framework capabilities here. I think you're kind of right. This data folder here, there's the limit of it, right? Is a little redundant because there isn't anything else in there. So let's do that. Let's clean that up a little bit. Let's move repositories up one. And then we don't really need this data here. I think you're onto something. Good catch. So now if I look at my repositories, there's that data.data. If I clean this up, it's going to break in one or two places. I think that's fine. Right? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And then I think... Now it's going to break in a couple places, and we should be able to find those pretty quickly. I have a feeling it's just in our database project. We were at almost 100 viewers. You're right. Is that AC Fosito? How do we pronounce that? And I'm going to come back to your question, Janos. What do we got here? Startup extensions. Yes. This doesn't exist because it's there. And now it should build and run. Is the namespace correct? Should the root namespace be corewiki.data.entityframework? Ooh, you're right. You're right. You're right. That's gonna... I'm just gonna rename. I'm gonna reset the default name. Oh no, the default namespace is right. You're right. Rats. And when you're right, you're right. Let's do that, which means I'm going to need to go back over here and do this. One more place over here. We'll do one of these. And then I think we're going to need to go back to startup, to the startup where we're setting up the database. Startup, configure database. And we're going to need to put that. And that should now work. Probably leftovers from copy pasta. It is. What's the namespace? Where's that namespace refactor? I agree, Ashley Broughton. And ReSharper does have a nice refactor. One last question. Would Entity Framework Project work for another database, or does it just work with SQLite? It will work with other databases. You just need to add that configuration in so that it knows what to do there. Let's put that in. Let's see, we have this. That should take care of the last of it. Yeah, adding those refactorings is actually not too bad. It's an extension in Visual Studio, so they're able to work a little bit isolated from the rest of the application. Will the migration scripts work with another database? It should. It should. And actually, this is 15.8 that I'm working in. I'm working in 15.8 preview 5, but it wasn't there. See? Yeah, there's nothing there. Depends on the use provider for the migrations. It does. Navy SEALs. I always wanted with C#, but all the information is confusing me. Maybe programming is not my thing. So, Navy SEALs, what's, how can I help? It does take practice. You're right, President, not sure. Our friend Dev Chatter is running a nice tutorial series on his channel around getting started with C#. Might be good to tune in there if you have some questions that that a tutorial series like that could help with. That sure looked like it would. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible, Janos. That is a terrible pun. It does take time to learn and become fluent with C# as a language, just like any language that you might speak as well. I've been doing C# now for 18 years. So I need to begin from scratch. So Dev Chatter is beginning from scratch. His videos are recorded and available. I think he's publishing them to YouTube as well. We did I did a C# workshop back in May, but I bounced around at various levels, and I didn't really get tutorial level stuff in there. But don't give up on it so quickly, Navy SEALs. We're not at a beginner for C#. I agree, Ashnor. It is normal to be confused, and I do want to make sure that I'm explaining things in a way that makes it a little bit easier to understand what we're doing. I was doing some very quick refactoring here to make sure that we got through the process today. Always taking steps backward. Yeah, there's it takes practice. So there are basics with flow control. There are specifics. Yeah. All of my live stream videos are available. Yep. Dev Chatter is starting, and so is Code Rushed. So here's what I'm going to do. I think we're going to wrap up here today. And we're just going to commit these last couple of changes that we put in play here for renaming those couple things. So let me add those. Git commit renamed namespace to include entity framework. And then I will push that. And now we've got everything updated for CoreWiki. So what I'm going to do, now that we've pushed that up, we have another pull request sitting out here from Monkey, Coding Monkey, around adding mediator. And this should become a little bit easier to do, and it's failed checking here. We have a couple conflicts. This should become a little bit easier for us to investigate now that we have true entity objects that we can start to integrate with and use inside of our project. Is that Gold Raphael? Thank you for the follow. We're wrapping up here. So Navy SEALs, yeah, please don't give up. There's other folks out there that have some great resources to help get you started. Dr. Robotvinic, thank you for the follow as well. Now, Janos, around GraphQL, I think GraphQL would be a great add-on to this project to provide additional APIs for folks to be able to use. And there's another cool extension or module that we can introduce in the future. Ashner, thanks so much for the Twitch Prime subscription. Of course, Twitch Prime you get for free if you have Amazon Prime. And Twitch Prime will automatically remove all the advertisements you see here on Twitch. And you get a free channel subscription. So, like Ashner, you can use your subscription here on this channel, and you'll get a free .NET bot emote that you can use in this chat room and all the other chat rooms on Twitch. Plus, I'll match that subscription, and we'll make a donation to Girl Develop It. Thanks so much for that. Tomorrow, I hope you come back and join us. We're gonna take a look at this mediator pull request and see about merging that. But I'm gonna set up here so that we can do a raid. I hope you stick around for the raid. Live Rubber Ducky, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. But I'm I'm about to kick off a raid here. And we're going to go over, and I think today let's raid Code Rushed. We raided Dev Chatter a couple days ago, so let's raid Code Rushed. So that's our friend Mark Miller. He's going to be working on some JavaScript. He's actually building a game using JavaScript, working with a normal browser. So I'm going to kick off that raid request. And if you opt to join, go on over there, say hi to Mark for me, let him know that you came from my channel, throw a bunch of those .NET bots into his chat, and if you stick around on that channel, if you throw him a follow, he's going to give away a copy of Code Rush at the end of the show. So I hope you join him, let him know that I say hi, and I hope you come back tomorrow, and we'll take a look at Mediator here. For the Horde! That's great. Take care.